We have to start with energy and fuel prices because, of course, we have this announcement from the White House today of SPR release of those reserves. You have oil prices coming down. Now, I know in the past you've said you're 80% hedged when it comes to your fuel prices, but given that 20%, how much of a relief is it for you to see lower oil?
Good morning. It's some relief to our customers. As you've rightly said, Ryanair is 80% hedged out until March of 2023, so we're in a reasonably strong position. But, it's not good for the industry and it's not good for consumer confidence that we have these rising and escalating energy prices. And, clearly, like everybody else, we want to see an early conclusion to the unlawful invasion of Ukraine and much more stability in the energy price market.
Does that mean then, Michael, so even if it doesn't hit your cost specifically, if the consumer feels the pain, they're paying more at the pump, do you see that reflected in them less willing to buy tickets for Ryanair, less willing to go out and travel and spend that money?
I don't think so. I mean, we still, the industry is still recovering from the COVID pandemic. So there appears to be a huge pent-up demand, particularly from families, for travel all over Europe this summer. We believe the peak summer travel months, June, July, August, September, will be very strong. But there's no doubt that, the wider economic, the wider health of the economy will be damaged by these very high oil prices. And so, the sooner or the earlier the war in Ukraine can be brought to a conclusion, and the sooner the energy price or that stability returns to energy markets, the better for not just consumers, for the airlines as an industry in general, but for the wider European economy as well.
Right. Yeah, Michael, I don't want to belabor the point, but I do wonder if it impacts the consumer, if you still have this 20% that's unhedged, which of course is very low and better than most of the industry. Is there a level of oil that you're looking at, be it $150 or higher, that if sustained, it would actually start to impact margins and consumer demand?
We don't think so in the near term. I mean, we still believe that this summer will be strong. I think if oil prices remain high, where we think that things will get a bit scary will be next winter. You'll have rising energy demand coming into the winter period. European economies will be somewhat undermined by either higher oil prices or concerns over energy supply, and that may we may be looking at undermining consumer confidence or the risk of a recession. So, again, I can come back to the point. We think the summer will be strong. We are well hedged in Ryanair. And, if there is a concern over consumer spending, it generally tends to favor the low-cost airlines in Europe, like Ryanair and others. And so I would expect that we will continue to grow strongly. But as an industry, we need a resolution of the Ukrainian situation, and we need more stable energy prices.
Right. Well, of course, energy isn't the only cost. Labor costs have also been an issue really coming out of this pandemic era. And of course, Ryanair has faced its share of labor and union disputes as well. Michael, are you having to pay up even more to attract talent? How does labor costs look at the moment?
I think, we've worked hard during the 2 years of the COVID pandemic with our unions and with our colleagues. We've had pay restraint in the airline. We agreed very modest pay cuts with pilots and cabin crew. We're now beginning to restore those pay cuts. The first restoration takes place in July of this year. So, there is still a huge oversupply of pilots across Europe. Many airlines went bankrupt or closed or went bust during COVID. So, there is a widely available pool of skilled labour in the airline market. I think where we're more concerned into this summer will be pinch points at airports. We're seeing the airports struggle to recruit people in security, in airport handling, those kind of lower paid jobs. And we're seeing pinch points at a number of airports, Berlin, Dublin. There's been issues with the length of security queues and availability of security personnel. So I think our focus would be more on those kind of pinch points affecting the travel experience across Europe this summer.
Michael, earlier in the month, you pledged to help airlift medical supplies bound for Ukraine. Can you give us an update? How is that going? What have you done so far? What further are you doing?
Yeah, we've thus far we've made out the holes in our aircraft. We're the largest airline flying into Poland, Romania, Slovakia, so all the neighbouring states of Ukraine. Over the last 4 weeks, we've now run more than 20 humanitarian flights where we're giving the whole space of our aircraft free of charge for medical emergency equipment, humanitarian relief supplies. We're flying that free of charge into these airports. We're also creating low-fare availability for Ukrainian citizens seeking to travel to other points in Europe from our airports in Poland, Slovakia and Romania. And we're doing everything we can as an airline to try to facilitate. We were the second largest airline in Ukraine before the invasion. We're committed to returning to Ukraine as soon as possible. But for the moment, we're doing everything we can, both providing humanitarian assistance and also providing low fares for Ukrainian refugees fleeing the situation in their homeland.
Right. And you know, to be fair, you have faced accusations of hiking fares between Poland and Ukraine. I want to be very clear. You have denied those accusations. As you're saying, you're providing low-cost flights. Okay. I want to give you a chance to comment on that because, yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah. What actually happened is, we had some refugees who turned up on the first day or two of the invasion, and we had very full flights. So all of our flights were already heavily booked and, in fact, sold out. We're creating additionals. We've been creating, since that first weekend, we've been creating additional seats. We're providing our friends in the Ukrainian embassy in Dublin with a weekly update of where we have low fare availability over the next 7 days, where they can avail of fares that start at 20, 30, 40 and 50 euros. But there was absolutely zero truth, and it was an internet story that we were increasing prices for refugees. Never happened, completely untrue.
Okay, Michael, thanks for clearing that up. Now, before I let you go, I also want to get your thoughts on Boeing as well. Last year, you couldn't agree on a price for the higher capacity MAX 10. Have you restarted talks? If so, what are they looking like?
No, we're not in talks with Boeing at the moment on new aircraft order. Now, we are working very closely with our partners in Boeing. We're taking 65 new aircraft deliveries over the last 5 months. We take the last 10 of those aircraft will be delivered to us in April and May. That gives us 65 new aircraft this summer, which helps us. We expect to grow this year to carry 15% more passengers than we did pre-COVID. That's the first year of a 5-year aircraft delivery program. We take 55 more aircraft next winter from Boeing. So we're working closely with Boeing on current deliveries. The MAX has been seamlessly introduced. Passengers love the new aircraft, particularly how quiet it is. But we are yet to restart talks with Boeing. Boeing are dealing with multiple issues. And we would hope to restart talks at some point in time in the future, but only when there's a pricing point that makes sense for our low-fare business model here in Europe.